Hello, I'm a baby Abraham. This is my first time here, and I just picked up your book about 10 days ago. And I just did the first Rampage of Appreciation, and my life is already changing. I was trained and been conditioned to solve problems, heavy problems. Intense training and doing difficult things, and I've become masterful at it. And I'm tired of it.
Well, you know, you have to be really strong and really focused and really a hard worker to do what you've been doing from outside the vortex. Yeah. Because you don't have the leverage that creates worlds helping you out.
Yeah.
And that's why you're tired. In other words, because it's supposed to be easier than it is under those conditions. So now what?
Yeah, that was my question. Wow, I didn't mean for it to be that funny.
Well, they like it when we know what's on your mind.
Yeah, right, yeah. I'm almost scared to not continue what I've been doing. Well, but I'm more scared of not doing the practice to be into the vortex.
Well, here's the most important thing that we want you to hear from us. It can't go wrong for you, because in all of that efforting, in other words, think about it. You have not always been out of the vortex. Much of what you have lived, you know the feeling of inspiration. You know the feeling of a good idea coming. You've been someone who's been poking at problems, and then all of a sudden a solution will occur to you. You've been doing what we've been teaching a good part of your life. You said, I'm an Abraham baby, and we wanted to say, but you were moving on, hardly, because you have instinctually been finding your way into the vortex all of your life, just calling it something else. So when someone is a solution seeker, and that's the label that you've been giving to yourself, a good solution seeker is someone who needs a pile of problems to probe in. But you know that feeling of addressing the problem, addressing it from all angles, feeling sort of lost in it, the problem just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then taking a break from it, and at a time that you least expect it, at a time that you're not focused upon the problem, suddenly the solution is right there, ripe for your picking, and you chastise yourself a number of times. You say, I don't know why I didn't see it sooner. But you've been the creator of many solutions because you've been willing to stay focused upon the problems. And now the only thing that's happened to you, there's not some big shift or some big change that's underway for you. You're not going to begin to do things dramatically different. The only thing that's happened to you is that you are now aware in a way that you have not been aware of before, that there is a big vibrational difference between the problem and the solution, and that you don't have to probe and endure the discomfort of the problem for as long. In other words, it's sort of like saying, and we'll give you a pretty good indication of your in and out of the vortex time. We'd say that most people that you know are out of the vortex far more than they're in. You, in your orientation for seeking solutions and in your determination to find them, you've been out of the vortex 60 and in the vortex 40. Now that's a really good in the vortex amount of time, especially for someone who hasn't heard about the vortex, but it's been your intuitive sense that has taken you there. And that's why you've been so masterfully successful in discovering the solutions that you have. Now what we're suggesting is this slight shift where you're in the vortex 70 and out of the vortex 30. And that's not such a big shift. It's not dramatic, nothing to be scared about. In other words, you've been working this system without even knowing you've been working this system.
I'll take the 70, yeah.
And those of us who stand in the vortex 100% of the time cannot find words big enough to express our appreciation for the 30% of the time you spend out in your expansion of the universe.
Thank you.
While you're here, let's wrap this up with that rampage we promised. And since you have had such satisfying results with rampages of appreciation, let's just do that. Yes? So you choose the subject. What's your favorite subject to rampage on?
For being alive.
And by that you mean physically focused?
Physically, yeah.
Could not have been a better choice. I stand here in my physical body, out of the vortex part of the time, in the vortex part of the time, in a newfound clarity or knowledge about the value of my physicality. I accept the eternalness of that which I am and of all that is, and I revel in the part that I play in this never-ending, expanding process. There have been times in my experience that I have struggled within the problem enough that I actually questioned the value of my physicality. But then the solution would appear, and the satisfaction in the solution would be so big that in those moments I would know without question the value of the whole process. I can feel the fullness of who I am when I'm in the vortex, and I crave it always, especially when I'm not in the vortex. But in all of it, I can feel an absolute well-being, like a warm blanket that wraps itself around me. I am certain, unequivocally positive, that well-being is the order of this universe. I can feel that here in my physical body, the exploration of variety is what is responsible for the new ideas that are born. And I can feel that those new ideas being born are what life really is all about. I love that frisky, adventurous feeling of finding something new to focus upon. And it makes me want to shout especially when I'm standing in that place of being in the vortex, it makes me want to shout appreciation for every particle of everything that was responsible for that newfound flowing in the direction of who I really am. I really get it that I was source energy before I came into this physical body, and I can really feel the power and the value of being in this body. There are times that I can feel, even within my struggle, the advantage that I give to source. And I always feel the advantage of that struggle when I move in the direction of that which is source. I'm coming to the place where I am ready to stake my claim, to plant my flag, to announce to the universe that there is nothing in all of the universe more delicious than to be physically focused and in the vortex. But I'm also ready to now proclaim that there is nothing more delicious in all of the universe than to be physically focused and not in the vortex, with knowledge of my ability to be in the vortex. I want to say to everyone, I don't have to be in the vortex in order to be joyful, because my joy is in my understanding of the existence of the vortex and in my power and freedom to go there when I choose to go there. I am now experiencing the adventure of being alive in this physical body. I don't have to withdraw from adventure or withdraw from adversity or withdraw from things unwanted. I can engulf myself in them fully in order to reap the benefit that comes from that exploration. I finally realize the fullness of my physicality, and I embrace it completely. I love life. I love physical life. I love non-physical life. I love vibrational life. I love the knowledge of life. I love knowing who I am. I love being in this body. I love the others who share this time-space reality with me. I love the problems that they present. I love the problems that they live. I love the problems that they pose. I love the solutions that they inspire. I love being an extension of source energy. There is nothing in all of the universe more delicious than to be in physical form and in complete knowledge of how I fit together with the bigger picture in all of this. There is great love here for you and for you.
Hi. First, I wanted to say I'm so grateful to be with you and be experiencing this day. It's almost overwhelming. And I didn't expect to get emotional. One of my favorite subjects to talk about is Abraham's teachings, and it's absolutely one of my favorite things to do. But it gets difficult sometimes when you're talking to people that really don't understand it and don't get it, and say things like, well, that doesn't work for me, I'm a realist. And my question to you is, what is the short answer to give them?
Good for you. I'm a vibrational realist. And if they say what, rather than if they say what, if they're interested, then you could say, I used to be a realist because I used to just love to talk about reality, to observe reality, to pigeonhole reality, to compare reality. Oh, I was really, 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 really into reality. And then I discovered that my reality couldn't change as long as that's all I looked at. So I just kept getting different places and different faces, but it was the same reality. And then I realized there must be something more. And when I started asking, is there something more? I discovered that there is a vibrational reality that precedes all reality. And if I will focus upon the vibrational reality, I can find more joy faster. And then my reality shifts, improves, shifts, improves, shifts, improves, shifts, improves. And I have a sense that that was what I was born to do. I believe that I create my reality. But when I face the reality I've already created, I stand still.
So,
and they won't get it.
No, I know.
But
yeah,
but
that's the conversation I just had with someone the other day. It's like you just say, well, would you be better off, exposing people to your negative way of thinking, or?
Well, here's the thing. You've been listening to us here today.
Right.
And you heard us making fun of our own brilliant cards. You heard us talking about how when you affirm outside the vortex, that all it does is just make you dig in stronger. So if we're not encouraging you to try to shore up your creation from outside the vortex, why would you try to shore up somebody else's when they're outside the vortex? In other words, you're not going to convince someone outside the vortex of any of this.
That how wonderful the vortex is.
Let's say it's someone you love. Let's say it's one of your children. Let's say it's your lover or your husband or your wife. Not that they need to be different. Let's say that you are having a moment with someone who you really would like to understand about the vortex because your life is so enhanced and you'd like them to know it too.
Right.
But they're clearly not in the vortex. Well, the win factor that we've been talking about is not now. In other words, don't try to talk to them about it when they are out of the vortex. Children know that, don't they? Mm-hmm. When you were little, didn't you know when was a good time to ask for the car and when was not a good time to ask for the car? It's the same thing. In other words, don't ask somebody out of the vortex to understand this stuff. And don't ask yourself to understand it or to make great improvements when you're outside the vortex. Just wait till you're in the vortex and then practice it until you're in the vortex time begins to take higher precedent, more air time in the vortex, and then everything begins to improve. As teachers, and you are a room full of teachers and healers and uplifters, you want to help other people. But haven't you noticed that when your attention is upon their problem, and so this is when you want to talk to them about it, now instead of you bringing them into the vortex, your attention to their problem has you out of the vortex, and now it's just words that don't make sense to anybody. But don't you have those incredibly brilliant insights where you're in the vortex? Jerry and Esther have just been chatting recently because so many new insights. Their life has been giving them so much to think about and so much to talk about. And they're so enjoying the fine-tuning and the understanding of this. So eager to step forward always into the present tense reality.